welcome to the first sportscast we're doing. So we're just gonna kind of look at the Madden games that happened, and then we're also gonna look at a couple other things, and this is also part of derivative content, episode 1, and I swear I'll get a webcam or something, maybe figure it out, give you a different segment where you get to see me. The first game we're going to talk about is the Bears, and we're going to go through some of these games. You'll see how it goes. This was the turning point, 12-3. At the 44, little setup play here. They were having trouble all day, kind of, just getting the ball out and scoring. It's 12-3. They've missed some extra points, but this is where the game really changed, and it's all Mooney. And then they went on to really blow them out. I'm pretty sure. You can check the score at the end. And there's that catch again. Really a turning point in the game. (22-3). So they really went and won that game. That was the turning point. Not a lot happened after that. Seahawks in Denver. It's 28-14. The game is still within their reach. Here's Denver. Gonna just get a touchdown to the tight end. Boom. Gonna make it 21-28. But I don't think that they had enough time. And this game just ran out for them. So it was a hard fought game. The turning point was right here. A little bit later on, you'll see. After the kickoff, 21. The Seahawks are just gonna run this clock out. And that's really the turning point in the game. Because you're looking at 4th and 3 here to seal the deal. Can they do it? Because Denver really has a chance here. No. Just gonna do a little quarterback run. The game was over at that point. It was a good, valiant effort. John West seals it for them. Columbus Capitals against the Rams. This game ended up being a blowout. So I'm just going to show you where they go up 21-0. Getting it close in the red zone. And Justin Herbert's going to run on this play and just watch. Then left him wide open.
So 3 rushing touchdowns.
They went on to win.
No.
Big time. 35-0. A shutout. In the St. Louis game, it's a lot more convoluted. A lot more convoluted. It starts with these missed field goals. First by Jacksonville. So they really needed that, you know. And then you're gonna watch
The 44
on 3rd and 17. After getting gifted, you know, that. Us a drop. 4th and 17. 61-yard field goal. Definitely has the leg. They don't even believe it. What does he do? Misses it. Slightly left. They definitely had a chance. Multiple times. The Jaguars would come back 14 to 21 here. And that was, you know, the game's still on. Patriots on their drive at the 2 had to pull away, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think the Jaguars score again. And it's hard fought by the Jaguars, I'm saying. They're gonna run this ball in on 3rd and goal. Yeah. And they would go on to finish the day 35-14. Losing in passing yards. Then you got Houston against the Dolphins. If you can guess, this Houston
pushed backwards,
team.
and he didn't get there. They're in field goal range, 4th and 2.
So this is the only time
points on the board.
the only time that you're gonna see Miami score. And they're undefeated. We're not even gonna really analyze this much because it was kind of a bloodbath.
Farthing to their deficit.
48-3. And their winning streak is crazy. Now this was the first game of the week, and it was the most crazy disappointing. So we're gonna go over it. We're gonna go over the storyline. The Browns, one of the best teams, the best team of all time. You're looking at probably the best quarterback of all time. And the Falcons team is like, just like the Falcons always are, put together like some ragtag team of guys. And they got some good players. They got the old Columbus Capitals running back, who was cursed in Columbus from the curse of the Columbus Capitals and their starters always refusing to play late in the season. And he came here, and he's just been pretty good. So here is 0-0. Ahmad Middlebrooks getting the ball to Nick Chubb. And we're going to see a lot of that, because this is a team that just throws and throws and throws. And that's kind of the point. So, of course they're going to go on to score. Just like any great team would. It's on this stupid silly type of route, probably. The first incompletion. Yeah, crossing route. What's his name? No. That's number 11. That's, yeah, Peoples-Jones. Anthony Peoples-Jones. Let's see how the Falcons respond, because it was a good game. And they come back. Boom. At the goal line. After just fighting forward the whole time. We'll watch their offense a little bit later. Because they were unstoppable in this game. And it's the computer. So Falcons fans, get a win this week. They are grand computer winners. Congratulations, Falcons fans. Because as this game unfolds, you're going to see why. 3rd and goal. The Browns really think they got him right here. And what's he gonna do? What Justin Herbert was doing. And pulling the robot on him. Again, they respond before halftime. And that's the key. The Browns are going to come back also on the goal line. Not going to get it on first down. But 2nd down with Nick Chubb playing it safe. And that they only do that when they're scared. So you know you gotta watch the game to see it. The Falcons catch them completely off guard. And that's why you're hearing that train. The 14-14 in the 4th quarter. So it's a big game. All these goal lines, like these teams were fighting. So let's see the Browns respond. At the 1 again. So you know they're going to score, most likely. Here comes Ahmad Middlebrooks, ready to show why he's the greatest QB of all time. Making those dink and dunk throws. Goal line. Anthony Schwartz dancing. And now this is the deciding play in the game right here. And we're going to watch it. And we're going to talk about whether it's me or my controller. Why am I missing kicks? I've been missing a lot of kicks lately. And that would end up leading to the end of this throwdown because it's too late in the game to try and get those type of points back. So let's watch the Falcons respond and win it. A minute left at the 25. And it's a beautiful touchdown. And we even reviewed it. And it was totally good. They're going to get the extra point. after a review by us.
46 seconds.
And this is how it goes for the Browns. Trying to win this game with just a little bit of time left. The best quarterback of all time, Ahmad Middlebrooks. 1st and 10, gonna roll right and get sacked on the play. And they start running out of timeouts. What's gonna happen, you know? What is going to happen here?
Threw our strategy out the window.
A pick.
Picked off,
And that was it. And we watched this game fall 20-21 to the Falcons. Best game so far. So we know Ahmad Middlebrooks is still top of the league. But let's look at other people. Josh Allen threw for 70.5% completion percentage. Josh Burns had a good game, but not really. He didn't throw for many yards, but he held it together, got the win. Justin Herbert staying on track, getting his win. He had a rushing touchdown. John West, he's trying to catch up to Ahmad Middlebrooks now, and Justin Fields had a crazy day. And here are some of the standings and such that happened at the end of that game, and we can talk about that. We can talk about Ahmad Middlebrooks with his 2,589 yards, 22 touchdowns, but Justin Herbert's got 23. If you didn't see that, he's got 23. It's too quick. And Eric Blythe is third with 2,307 yards. He is the Tennessee Titans quarterback. I don't even know if they played that last week. Oh yeah, no, they didn't. Wait, no. Is this really the schedule for next week? Cleveland plays Houston. Oh my gosh, they're gonna fall to 6-3, aren't they? Daniel plays David in Baltimore, Dallas. They're both 1-7. Chicago's gonna get to play Miami. That's gonna be an easy game for them, probably, hopefully. Brooklyn against Denver. That's an easy game. Seattle against Arizona. And Pittsburgh against Columbus. Those are... But Cleveland at Houston? That's gonna be a heartbreaker for Cleveland. They really needed to not lose 2 games already. Falling to the Falcons is just gonna cement that they're not gonna make anything but maybe the wild card. They might win their division, but they won't get the playoff. Like, not, they won't get it. Roman Brown for the Houston Oilers, first in the league, over 1,000 yards going in. So he's looking at another 2,000 yard season. Not Josh Jacobs, so not Cam Akers. Anthony Schwartz with his 19 touchdowns. People will say, is it more Ahmad Middlebrooks or is it Anthony Schwartz with 19 touchdowns, or Dominic Barrow with or even Darnell Mooney with 14. Those are all huge numbers. Chase Young leading the league in sacks. All that. And we're going to do more in-depth analysis on stats. But not in this episode. We're just lucky we got through it. We can go over the standings. The Oilers haven't lost since the last year. They were undefeated. They even won in the preseason. They're still 8-0. So they're the best in the league. After that, you got the Giants. So Giants fans are basically winning right now. So shout out to the Giants fans. The Texans. Also, how are you? I just want to remind you that it's Deshaun Watson's Texans still in 2030 in this game. So I don't root for them. So, but shout out to Texans fans. Shout out to Chiefs fans. Mahomes is still good in 2022, Madden in 2030. So don't worry. 7-1 somehow. I don't know. Maybe I haven't played them. And then the Caps, the Barons, and the Patriots. And we'll see more down the list. Go Chiefs. They're killing it. They own the conference right now, and I play with 2 teams in it. So, the Browns are next. The Bears are after that. The Bengals, then the Vikings, the Seahawks, and the Bucks. Those are the bad teams. And we got teams there. The Ravens, that's Danny. We could talk about all of them. And we will. It's just not the time. Browns. 6-2. 8th in the league. And they're about to play the best team in the league that hasn't lost. Just don't know. Don't know about that one. But good luck to them. Because if they can do it, they could win the Super Bowl this year. Steal the momentum. If not, their season is looking tanked. They got one more chance. One more shot. And it comes at the end of the week after every other game. Did we get some schedule?
5, 3, 2, 1, go.
What up, what up? This is Derivative Content, Episode 1. A Apophenia project led by me, Dennis Slueth Whiting Jr.
And Walt Dipsey, or Cannibal Steve, Condomini, the Holy Trinity, and of who the fuck are they?
Skylar Nesmer Whites
But yeah, this
will
segment
be joining us later.
This segment is your segment, basically, because it's the it's the review segment. It's like our main review. It's the I don't know. You call it whatever
I'm just
you want.
introing it as it's like, you know, this is the first thing they're going to hear in existence on the channel on the derivative content episode. So, what is derivative content? Well, as a hip-hop group who frequently spends a lot of time online, we see a lot of things that, you know, we can poke fun of, and we're just going to give our honest opinions on some things in the world that we see. Hopefully, we don't get too high and mighty for ourselves. That's a reference. Play along, you might learn something. Alright, first movie we're going to do today is Spider-Man No Way Home.
There is a Spider-Man.
Now, Spider-Man No Way Home came
out a long time ago.
A long time ago. Okay, why are we talking about Spider-Man? Well, why is the internet talking about Spider-Man? Why is the hip-hop community talking about Spider-Man?
Why is everyone still talking about Spider-Man?
They refuse to let an idea die, much like the movie industry. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, okay? We are going to take this one itty-bitty spider-web at a time. So we start off with Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. I think I said Spider-Way.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
It's my favorite character. What is wrong with you? Anywho, what is your impressions, Walt, of Spider-Man?
I'm just getting my copy of Spider-Man No Way Home that you bought me to make sure that it's the right movie because I get the names confused. Does that make sense?
Well, that is a movie based off a character that I love the original run of his comics.
Yeah.
Where Steve Ditko's art later, taken over by John Mishima Jr., is just, yeah, it's awesome. Fun fact, Jack Kirby worked on it with Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, but that's their holy trinity, but that guy didn't get credited. Anyways, did you like the movie, Walt?
I did like the movie pretty much overall. I think I watched it way later, and we'll talk about that in a second, but you watched it like when it came out. I watched it years later.
I saw it with Skylar and
in
his
theater.
family.
In theater.
I think with Asher and his dad.
But I
December
give it,
2021.
I definitely give it, just like you, like a 7 out of 10, or maybe an 8, but I don't know if I give it that 8 out of 10.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
I really do too, honestly. I like it.
But here's the thing. The reason I say that is the other superhero movie that came out around that time, The Batman. That's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 movie for me. People are polarized about that because they're like, it's long, it's stylistic. I'm like, at least it's something new. But we'll get on with that later on because Spider-Man No Way Home is right after Avengers Endgame. It is the, let me look at the numbering system for this, because, like, I assume 20 is Avengers Endgame, and they did, like, 2 movies, probably 22nd movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think you're right.
I'm just guessing. But let's see.
Yeah, it came out on, is it pandemic? Was this pandemic?
This was pandemic. This was 2021, December.
So that is why maybe I didn't see it right away so fast. Go out rush to see it. It's like one of the early pandemic movies. Like, big movies. Early-ish pandemic.
It is the 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We were so wrong Sorry, fans, they make so many of these. That's going to be indicative of another trait. That's funny, though, because 7 out of 10 is a number. But we were going to give it anyways. So, the 7 is a God number. But what happens when God's all around? We're going to get to the bottom of that here on Apophenia Station. If the TVA didn't, confiscate all of our equipment.
Exactly.
The point is, this is just Spider-Man No Way Home begins with Peter Parker after the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, where he is unmasked. I mean, not unmasked. His name gets revealed by Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Peter Parker is Spider. The line, but correct. And then he's just like, what the thing? That's the thing with a lot of Hollywood. A lot of liberal uses of the F-bomb, and that's fine. I love cursing, but it's getting lazy. We're going to talk about that later on.
Why do they put it at the end of movies?
This is also bringing everything to a 7 out of 10, as it's the same snarky-ass, insipid humor in every single thing, okay? I'm done with it, because that is blanketing a real, need to not stand out, and makes it very hard to rate these things on anything but a 7 out of 10. Getting back to Spider-Man grabs Zendaya and Mary Jane and swings off to go to recollect and figure out what to do with his life. He then goes to Aunt May's house and then finds his entire stuff's on the news. He goes to jail. Then Daredevil helps him out, and then you got anything, Walt?
No, I like your recap, but I do agree with you with the cursing, like what you were saying earlier about that. I'm like, it tears it down a little. That's in a couple movies. It's hilarious.
Could we talk about furthermore? Yeah, we've been out of the game a little too long on derivative content. We have to glance over to Spider-Man Far From Home now. Spider-Man, my favorite character, was reduced to a tripping idiot who gave away Tony Stark's glasses. R.I.P. Now Dr. Doom.
Oh yeah.
So
there you go too.
WTF?
I like the
maybe
background.
We're going to start throwing some useless F-bombs around the studio, because this is just, anyways.
No, yeah, the background is good that you're giving insight. I forgot about why I didn't go see this movie right away. It's because of the end of the last Spider-Man. I didn't like it.
Spider-Man gave away a critical, pivotal part of his arsenal, his literal inheritance, because the screenwriters thought, kid makes mistake, and he can just, bounce back from this. No. And the fact he bounces back and has to learn finally from this one, it's just the fact he did. Okay, anyways, he goes to the inner sanctum. How do you call that? The soul sanctum?
The Sanctum Sanctorum.
Sanctum Sanctorum, thank you. You're the Doctor Strange person. Funny enough, created also by Steve Ditko, Spider-Man. So this movie is a Steve Ditko fresco. And so now we have a kid who is trying to get into college. That's his only goal in life. which is funny because, like, you know, that's just Marvel propping up. You know, you got to go to college. I know the kid's a science major. He has to be a engineer, philanthropist / avenger. That's his path. His parents were also secret spies, if you read the comics.
Yeah.
Either die or don't die.
Wasn't that
so
in the movie?
He has a lot riding on his shoulders for his future. But for two people who didn't go to college, it kind of makes his Spider-Man like not relatable, honestly. That is a drawback. You know, maybe we're just the dejected, jaded, pothead dreamers, but like, you know, we kind of don't relate to the Spider-Man. He's not like us, weirdly. But getting back to the story. Well, you got anything?
I mean, I think that's hilarious. He's just stupid. Like, if it was a horror movie, he would get everyone killed, and he would just be lucky that he was Spider-Man. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Spider-Man makes too many mistakes, and the fact that, you know, you can just throw a Spider-Man trial on the first one. The Spider-Man Homecoming, Tom Holland was the closest to doing it right, okay? Then you just up it with Far From Home. We're going to take a vacation. We're going to do this. And, like, you know, you decide to nearly drone strike your classmate, and then you get your effing, you know, glasses taken by the villain. And you got your Spider-Man knocked out by your Spider Sense knocked out by your aunt is like a theory I always have, because she throws a banana, and because that's his mom, and it's like also an Oedipus joke, if you really want to go there. Like, you know, his mom just whacked him with a banana and took his spider sense for the entire movie. I'm not blind to the fact of what I see on screen.
Oh my gosh. There you go. But yeah, you gotta remember, like, why they end up there at the Sanctum Sanctorum is because...
Yes, Sanctum Sanctorum, he is trying to get his college, like, what do you call that? Letter?
No, it's because...
Getting into a school?
It's because
the
whole plot of the movie is, like, his life falling apart.
It always is. Like a good Spider-Man, they decided to adapt the universally and critically worse Spider-Man story one more day, but they decided, you know, we're gonna twist the knife even harder for Peter Parker, which is a classic Peter Parker thing to do. Anyways, we'll get more into that in a bit. So, Spider-Man is with Doctor Strange, and he's trying to get a do-over.
Because his whole family, and remember, what's his name? Happy. Remember
before
Happy?
Finding out that
Happy
Peter hadn't even called.
No, come on, stop. Do you remember? It's because everybody's lives are ruined. Not just his whole family has been ruined because of him.
He got arrested.
Remember Happy?
He's like,
remember what happened to
public
Happy?
enemy number one. They think he killed a guy on a bridge, cold executed him style in a different country. And, that doesn't look good.
It's because, you know, what happened to Happy? Didn't he get charged with something?
They live at Happy's house.
I know, but he's like already like half in trouble, remember? Because Peter gave his identity
No,
up.
his mom has to stay. His mom and him have to stay there because they get arrested by, like, Homeland Security. And so they have to go and move into Happy's house. And Happy wants to get with Aunt May.
But it's the negative publicity that they all have. It's like, you know, it's his fault. It's like his fault. He's like, you're already on thin ice. You know?
I think it's actually the advice from Daredevil, remembering the movie again, who says that they need to get away from this,
There you go.
environment.
I don't know why I'm
Because
so hung up on
They
this.
threw the brick in the
maybe that's
window and he caught it. He was like, Mike, advise leave town or something like that, or stay somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay. And then, Doctor Strange. That's where we're at.
So Doctor Strange is mad because Peter didn't call the college. Classic phone anxiety. This kid. Maybe he is our Spider-Man. Anyways, this Spider-Man goes back to the Sanctum Sanctorum and convinces Stephen to make another critical error other than starring in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I said it, another 7 out of 10. Yeah.
Telpa agrees.
Boo. That's actually really a 6 or a 5. If you really want to get the mood about it. But look,
it's a good mention right here.
it is a good mention. Because that movie's connected to this one. Oh wait, let's jump back to Stephen Strange's spell, which is to make everyone not remember that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And then he keeps messing the spell up. And if you've seen the trailer, you know the scene. He's like, I wish for that. Like, what about my aunt? What about Mary Jane? What about Ned? What about, my family? And then, he messes it up. And the rings go out. Spaghetti-O.
That's the best description I've ever heard of what actually happens.
Everything's out of alignment. Doctor Strange is like, what did you do? And then, I think, Spider-Man does what? Gets thrown out again? And then he goes and lives his life? Until Dr. Ock shows up, played by Alfred Molina, of course.
That part is really cool. Your nostalgia is at its highest.
So Doc Strange is...
But you're like, is this new?
Yeah, so Dr. Octopus is right after the Doc Strange scene. They decided to now start treating the... I don't know where I'm going with this. The point is, Dr. Octopus is on screen again, and you're hyped and cool, because the trailer hyped this part up, and it's cool. And Tom Holland Spider-Man is marveling at Doc Ock, and he's like, you're not around from here and stuff. Oh yeah, these arms, it's not gonna work for you, and this is not your universe, guy. And he's like,
they're all at their most Sam Raimi evil, especially Doc Ock.
This is like, what are you doing? Where's the height of the sun? 1,000 suns. And he doesn't know what that means, and then Spider-Man, Tom Holland, puts these, robot Iron Man, parts on the Dr. Octopus arms, assimilating them, and thus taking control and apprehending the Doc Ock, who was attacking a bridge, which, coincidentally, had Spider-Man's, Peter Parker's, college dean was on that bridge. Funny enough, played by the villain of Luke Cage, Alfred Woodard.
Do you remember why he was able to disarm it, basically? Wasn't it because Tony's, technology allowed him to, see what was going on really quickly? Is that what it was?
Tony's technology, Peter has that type of tech in his, like, iron spider suit. So he was just able to, that suit even has 4 legs and all. I think they used that in the fight, if I'm not mistaken, because that was underneath his college suit or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Dr. Octopus is, like, thrown in there, and, pretty much what happens next is he gets taken to the Sanctum Sanctorum. Dr. Strange is like, look, you really messed up now. There's, like, a bunch of guys, like, wreaking havoc on universes and, like, all over our universe, actually. And they have all the villains from the Spider-Man films of yore.
You can't not mention the Willem Dafoe, like, being a homeless man in, like, somehow, just, like, randomly spawning as a homeless Willem Dafoe.
I don't know where that scene fits. It's right after Dr. Octopus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to place. That's what I'm saying, is that it's hard to place some of those. It doesn't really matter. It's really random because it's just the spaghetti-o plot still falling around. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah,
They
at the
smashes
same time,
the mask and you're like, yeah, he's gonna use his real face.
the most important
Which now he's
is
in
Dr.
everything.
Octopus.
So that's indicative of, like, entertainment today. Willem Dafoe, I mean, he was already a hot ticket, but after Spider-Man No Way Home, The Lighthouse, oh my god, he's in everything. In everything.
And he's doing really good.
He's gonna be in Nosferatu, he's gonna be in Beetlejuice, he's gonna be in Bob Dylan.
Yeah. But he did good in this role, too. He saved the movie, I would say. He made it really amazing. He made it the 7, maybe an 8 for me. I did maybe give this movie an 8, but I said a 7 or an 8. I'm gonna go with a hard 7, though. But really, okay. Willem Dafoe.
So, Willem Dafoe enters the soup kitchen of Aunt May, which is really pleased if you played the Spider-Man PS4 video game, because this plot is ripped straight from that. If you played those games.
I have not, so you
Aunt May, like, runs a homeless shelter for, like, New York.
Oh my god.
Survivors.
That is what it is. It becomes like a funny movie at this point. It's hilarious.
It's a lighthearted, raw kind of, minus, like, Peter's life is over, but they frame it like it's funny. As his rights get violated.
That's so true. I didn't realize it.
Then he goes to desperate means to con the magician man for a little bit more happiness. You want to root for them, but this movie's very generic.
Zendaya.
The way we're making it sound is just not what it delivers. Okay? It does deliver that, but, there's an empty hollowness. Why do colorful comics seem like they're monochrome on the screen? Anyways, we go further into the movie where Dr. Strange has gathered all of the villains of the Spider-Man films of yesteryear, where you have from Spider-Man 1, Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, who I think you see after that scene, actually, because they don't have him, and they're looking for him, or something. I don't know. Anyways, they have Jamie Foxx Electro from Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield. They got the Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man. They got, Spider-Man 2, Dr. Octopus, and that's about it for now. So, what happens next? Peter gets his friends involved in his Spider-Man and his loyal friend Ned. Ned
discovers that he can create portals.
He discovers he can create portals, and then he has, with his girlfriend and his best friend, moved into the Magician Lair, which is also where the bad guys are being stored, mind you. This ain't gonna blow up in everybody's faces later, but their job is to find all the villains and track them down.
And they are trying to cure them
all. As Doctor
They're
Strange said, Scooby-Doo this shit. So.
And they're trying to cure them all.
They're trying to do what?
They're trying to cure all the villains, including the Green Goblin, and that's the twist, is he's the one that can't be cured.
He can't be cured. It's sad. It's just like, you think he's
so awesome
and lovable
in that movie.
Vampire.
And then he comes out of nowhere and is, ready to mess everything up, and he, hijacks it all. Everyone's evil or something again. How does that even happen?
Well, Jamie Foxx wants power. He wants more of the power, because it's always,
Jamie
his
Foxx
ego.
And
like, Tom Holland Spider-Man says he's gonna make all of the villains well, and
Jamie Foxx is really good in it too, just like Willem Dafoe.
He gets a second chance to shine in that role and doesn't waste that opportunity. Like, the cameos are really good, but that's the issue with a lot of, movies that turn into 7 out of 10. So, it's nice and a welcome return to see them in these roles, and it elevates a movie that, on the surface, a lot of laser beams, a lot of pow pow pow, a lot of boom boom boom, $20 please. We'll get to that later. Anyways, we have a bunch of villains now cured and rehabilitated until Willem Dafoe, actually before that, they have to go find the Sandman from Spider-Man 3. So, they go find the Sandman.
Yep.
And they send another person there too. Oh, that's when they find Jamie Foxx. Electro, who's in that scene as well. You got anything to add?
Do you remember when Ned accidentally frees Doctor Strange?
Did I make a chicken pot pie and not eat it? Wow. What Ned did what?
He freed Doctor Strange from containment, the Mirror Land.
He did do that. I think that's later on in the movie, though.
I'm just saying, these are all the things that Ned did on the side.
So, maybe you could explain the next part of the plot.
What? Where are you?
That's right. Explain the next part.
The next part of what?
Spider-Man.
What part of Spider-Man?
It's like they have a villain. It's after they rehabilitated all of them.
That's when they do the Green Goblin and they try, right?
They try, and then we have a sort of a few scenes where Green Goblin's kid and T-Pad, we've been doing so many great things together. I'm something of a scientist myself.
And they have to trap Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. Just to be able to try, because he doesn't want to try. He's ready to genocide them all, basically. Except not. Like, put them back in their universes.
The Spider-Man uses algebra, calculus, geometry, something to make a net that frankly looks akin to the Spider-Queen. If you know anything about Spider-Man, kiddies, Spider-Man started off as the idea for him started in 1957 when Steve Ditko got commissioned to make a BDSM comic called The Spider Queen, and the woman's cape was the Spider-Man webbing. So yeah. By the time they try to cure the villains.
And then Aunt May dies.
Yeah.
And she's the one that says,
sad.
with great power comes great responsibility, and that whole bit. Don't you remember? And then the other Spider-Mans are like, you've been through nothing. This is just the start. He has them to baby him through his hardest moment. It makes no sense. Why'd they wait 3 movies to do that?
To baby him even harder because of themselves.
I guess we knew there was no Uncle Ben and everything, and that it made no sense already.
The Spider-Man just gets nothing. He gets no parents and no uncles or aunts. This kid. Shit.
He's not even Spider-Man. Almost. He's Man of Spider.
Man of Spider.
Something like that. It's definitely become so far, because that is what happens. So Aunt May dies because he gets betrayed by everybody. And she says, with great power comes great responsibility. Then Ned gets his whole arc. And then there's the alternate versions of Peter like that, and then they baby him through it a lot. You know?
And that's when you see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire looks like he just came off the set of Pineapple Express. He looks glazed.
And he has to fight Doctor Strange at the same time, just because he's
with his bad back problems.
Yeah. And
then
then
Andrew Garfield's like a dark menace and nothing.
And then at some point, right, he just decides he's the problem. Just like all the viewers, probably.
Yeah, there's a lot of overcompensating.
That is weird that this movie does fall apart kind of right when you hand it off. It's just like, oh yeah, and then you want to explain the rest, how it just crumbles all off. At least it falls off.
It's very akin to the Doctor Who anniversary, very much. I mean, like,
yeah,
this movie...
it's kind of fall off the bone.
Because it's everybody just crying and hugging and squeezing and joking each other, and it's just like, nothing to be taken seriously at this point. Because it's funny, but then you just murdered Aunt May, and that's like, you know, the emotional point of the movie. You see how this review was just a lazy boat ride at this point. Because that's what 7 out of 10 movies do. They entertain you, but like, you know, they don't challenge you. Same as challenging movies. And that's crazy to say about, like, you know, Spiderman, No Way Home, but like, you can make a case for some of the other ones that they did other things for the psyche, maybe. Are you there?
The ending is crazy.
It is. Have a fight on the Statue of Liberty.
Well, yeah, that too. All the fight scenes.
And Tom Holland Spider-Man really kills Willem Dafoe Green Goblin until Tobey Maguire Spider-Man gets stabbed in the side.
Thank God. Doesn't he live? Or no?
He does live. He does live. Because that's the superhero.
And he's just
status quo.
He's just like out.
Now you're going to remember this forever. It's kind of like, then it answers real philosophical question. You killed the mentally, you know, psychotic, but then, like, you know, split personalities that don't know no better before they harm another innocent, aka Batman, Joker, Green Goblin, Spider-Man. Did you let them live?
It's just so weird what it turns into. It turns into like a start over.
A second chance, which, let me see what the comics had to say about that. Did Green Goblin ever get a second chance in the comics? Well, aside from the cloning BS, no! Spider-Man sent the glider through him. Not really, that was Green Goblin's own doing, but he didn't stop him.
That is brutal.
Like, then Spider-Man. Oh yeah. Two things that happen between there. He has to forgive, you know, the death of his aunt, and Mary Jane gets saved by Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And that's like a touching scene because Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is still reeling over Gwen Stacy and the Stone. So, it's catharsis with that. If you care that hard.
Remember the Eddie Brock cameo?
Yep, Venom.
Does that segue you into maybe more of what we might talk about? And can I just get it out of the way?
I think we're almost at the end of the
No,
movie.
I know.
So,
but before the end of the movie, I want to mention the other movies. Because you didn't do that. I think you got confused a little about what I was saying.
oh, yeah, go do that.
Well, I mean, it's fine. It's not like we don't have to say that you watched Deadpool and Alien and Eminem, because at the end, or, they have a Venom cameo, and that's Eminem. Remember Eminem? Venom,
That
Venom.
That
I'm
is.
just mentioning this stuff really quick. Deadpool, Wolverine, Alien, the Eminem album even, and how that might all tie in. We'll talk about that later. But I'm just slipping it into the conversation here right before the end, because we're at the end.
Of this one. Yes.
That's where it's going.
Alright. This movie is now almost at an end when Doctor Strange shows up and decides to do a spell because the heavens are breaking. And what we're seeing is Phase 4 Marvel. It's interesting. We're seeing a lot of Phase 4 Marvel. This movie foreshadowed the Eternals. If you've seen the Eternals, you realize Spider-Man is a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 movie. Because forget the Marvels. A lot of things. Doctor Strange, Multiverse Madness. Lesser. Very lesser. Lesser options since Tony Stark died. So, Doctor Strange has to put a spell out there for everyone to forget that Peter Parker is anything. Spider-Man is anyone, so the world doesn't rip apart.
Anyone who knows Spider-Man.
Yes.
That would be a lot of people.
That would be everyone. Including Mary Jane, Benedict.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Doctor Strange cries for a second. He's like, well, good. You realize that means you won't exist anymore. He's like, yeah, do it. So, with the little Disney dust, they're able to make Spider-Man non-existent. Peter Parker's back to having... Does that mean he even has a social security number? Or a birth certificate? Or a card? Or anything? How far does this spell go?
That is really terrifying.
I mean, maybe he has to live in that awful Spider-Man 2 apartment forever. Yeah. One more day indeed. The devil left him. But it's funny because Spider-Man gets out there during Christmas and goes and swings. That's the only joy left in his life. Merry Christmas is what the movie tells you. 3, it's a kind of number. That was Spider-Man No Way Home.
It does not say Merry Christmas.
It ends with Spider-Man swinging with the Christmas tree and snowing.
Oh my
New York
gosh, it
City
does.
at Christmas time. It came out during Christmas.
Okay, I guess you're right. It ends with a Merry
Capital
Christmas. What?
on Christmas.
Okay, so then you saw recently some new movies.
Oh, you're going to see some new movies. But let's review the Spider-Man a little bit more in depth. Now, accessibility-wise, what would you say? What would you give that rating, Paul?
Compared to the new movie, like, it's like this. You and Skylar went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Did I go see Deadpool and Wolverine? No,
You did not.
I did not. Why? COVID is spiking again. Did you know that?
Oh, no.
So it's like the highest it's been. It's even higher than the pandemic right now. And so that's why I was mentioning the other movie. I'm not trying to rush it along. It's just part of the same review. You're the one that made it that format. It's your fault. No, but it's important because, it's the same thing that happened with this movie. Spider-Man, I didn't go see it because of the pandemic. So what? Was I supposed to go see it in theaters? And then they didn't put it on anything forever and ever and ever. They didn't put it on. And then when they did, they put it on Stars. And I even had Stars, but I never went on it. Because who goes?
The only thing that Stars had was Ash versus the Evil Dead, which is funny enough. Sam Raimi.
And they're making a new Ash cartoon. Did you hear that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's starring your Bruce Campbell in his role. It's all tied together. See, that's what I'm saying. So the accessibility, I give it like a 3 out of 10. That's why it can't be an 8 out of 10 movie, because it's got a low accessibility score.
It does have a low accessibility score. Other things that make it a 7 out of 10 movie. Spider-Man is a Disney hero. He's a Boy Scout. He does what he's told. He's just... That's not who Spider-Man was.
No.
They polished and cleaned this guy to make him Bucky Barnes 2.0, and I don't like it.
He's like he's like Marvel's Spider-Man because they can't actually make a Spider-Man movie because that would be illegal or something.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their closest version they can do. He's like an off-brand Spider-Man. But he finally gets to interact with the on-brand ones. He gets to... Is him interacting with the on-brand ones and his struggle with that.
Some internet kids made like a fan film Spider-Man movie,
Yeah.
and it's like one of the worst things ever that you can see for free.
It's like just playing with your action figures, just like the Star Wars universe has become. Where every plot is just something that you would have played with your action figures. And that,
Just all more action
and
figures.
honestly, we should look at every movie that does that, and if it does that, score it lower, because it's...
I mean, action figures used to do that before movies did that. Okay, think about it. There were a million Batmans at the store. There were a million Spider-Mans. You know, you got the free suit Spider-Man. You got the hot suit Spider-Man. You got the Spider-Man with the car. You got Spider-Man with the launcher coming out of his dick. You got the Spider-Man where he's parachuting. You got the Spider-Man who's a crawler. You got the Spider-Man that sticks to the ceiling.
I'm still worried about the launcher one.
Just look at a band toy list article.
Oh my god, I believe it.
It's literally, they put the launcher right there. Just used it. So it looks like he's just popping shots off. Not kid friendly. It's a choking hazard.
And then remember we didn't get through the Easter eggs, blooper and gag reel with the DVD. We didn't get through the over 80 minutes of bonus content, so I can't really judge it, but I do know that it was hard to get through. It wasn't the best bonus content like you wanted to watch. I did want to watch it because it looked cool, like the movie, learning some cool. It was like the Dune one. Like, I actually got some really good ideas from it, but it's over 80 minutes of bonus content. That is a lot. We didn't get through it.
You may be impressed for a few things. Tom Holland can do his own stunts. He can do those flips. He can, like, you know, just fling his body 25, 50 feet off a crane.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. That's actually takes some guts.
And
something I can't do.
And he's way better about it than Tom Cruise. He's not like Tom Cruise scary about it, where he's risking other people's lives. He just does what he should. He doesn't he's not out there.
I've seen him do backflips out of award shows and stuff. Like, that dude can just do crazy parkour out of nowhere. And that's kind of what got him the part too.
Yeah, because he is the Spider-Man. He's the man spider, the man of spider.
Man of 1,000 Spiders is a Marvel's comics character where in a certain multiverse, Spider-Man is comprised of 10,000 spiders.
Yeah.
He still talks. Just a bunch of spiders. That movie gets also referenced in Across the Spider-Verse. Because the actions are going on simultaneously at the same time. Those two movies are going on at the same time.
I would say, though, it's kind of... You should watch it if you're a Spider-Man fan. That's the reason I watched it.
You should, but also Spider-Man is not like that. Spider-Man... If you really want to know what Spider-Man is...
You should watch it if you already know what Spider-Man is. And if you don't, then you might actually, your entire reality is going to be warped.
You know why it's a 6 or 7 out of 10? Because Peter Parker doesn't get better as a character good. They love to trap him in that developmental creative hell where it's like the character got to progress and got to change and evolve over time. He actually learned to love life. He actually learned to stop being an incel. He learned to stop hating other people. He became, confident in himself. He became rich. He became,
and then
a little vain.
Started him all over just to milk Milk the
Milk
prophet.
the high school years. Milk the friggin' tragedy. Milk the
Uncle Ben.
marketability of first appearances. It's just Spider-Man is supposed to be. You're thinking of it in like an objectivist not Aryan view, but like it's Peter Parker is supposed to grow and evolve and be a better character. And Marvel Spider-Man keep the room Peter Parker away. Because Spider-Man always was the most important thing. Even Tony Stark said that in the first movie. Don't deserve to wear the suit if you can't measure up to be like a man or something like that.
He did say that. It's just the same. We're getting caught in a time. This time, it's right in front of your face.
Didn't learn anything in 2 or 3 movies, and that's why he had to not go home.
No way.
It's almost an admission by the creators of, this version of the character that he sucks. He has to restart now with nothing and no one because he was given the world. He was given so many silver spoons, so many silver chances, so much Iron Man tech. No one liked him for it because that's not Spider-Man. He's Man of Spider.
No. He can't be too Spider-Man or he's off-brand. Or else this movie wouldn't have worked, actually, because then they would all be the same character.
Here's the thing. What if you flipped it, actually? That would be a more compelling story. Yeah. Instead of him getting found out, instead of him tripping over his shoelaces, why couldn't he actually get the girl and be happy? Then you actually do one more day. But you do it right because you earn it with the multiverse and everything like that. You give him a good life to take it away. Mm-hmm. You didn't give us a good life or anything. You didn't give any time with MJ. You gave us none of that. Because you fast-track the entire relationship between 2 or 3 movies. And you can't do that between 2 or 3 scenes. This movie fails on a level because it's trying to be, set up a relationship, set the stakes of a superhero movie, have the jokes, have the references, and it's so much that something gets sacrificed, and what gets sacrificed is the heart and character of the story, funny enough.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? I think we should just spend 1 more minute on it.
I think we can go to Deadpool, because speaking of character and story,
okay.
That's something that Ryan Reynolds used a lot of in Deadpool versus Wolverine. Funny enough. A movie that also is a 7 out of 10 for a different reason. Now, we have to bring it up to speed. From Spider-Man No Way Home to Deadpool Wolverine, we've had a phase of Marvel go by.
Excuse me. Happy Hogan's in the beginning.
Happy Hogan's and Deadpool Wolverine, excuse me. Holy. Yeah. Yeah.
This is another stupid timeline movie?
Yeah, it's another stupid timeline movie. It actually connects to the multiverse. The Marvel multiverse. So Deadpool ends with Deadpool 2. Have you seen Deadpool 2?
I don't think I've even seen one, possibly.
We saw one.
I did?
Yeah, we saw it together.
Oh, I think I remember that one. That one's not as bad though. 2 is like way crazier.
2 is crazier. 2 has Cable, Josh Brolin. Same year as he was Thanos.
I think I've seen 2 also, but just maybe just once. That's crazy. Because I remember.
So they did, like, Deadpool dies, but he went to a different multiverse, and he like, hopped to the comic universe, and they say the comic universe is now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or whatever. Because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is 19999, and the Marvel comic universe is 616. So.
Yeah.
Deadpool in the second movie was trying to save this kid who was an angry mutant who just burned everybody alive and was just like, it was just a ticking time bomb of a character. But like, they really tried to save him, and, you know, his girl, Vanessa, I think? Is it Vanessa? I don't know.
In Deadpool 2?
Let me look. What's Deadpool's girl? Find this name.
I'm pretty sure. Vanessa Carlyle?
Yeah, okay. So, she gets shot and killed in the beginning of the movie, and then that's why Deadpool teams up with Cable, and they go and try to figure out the second thing. Because the woman that, the guy who shoots Vanessa is that X-Men mutant, so it's just a Terminator. Like, we're gonna go to the past and either kill this kid or try to save him or do this thing. I forgot the central plot. But anyways, Deadpool 3 starts with
a
Wade
lot
Wilson
of those.
retiring from Deadpooling. Actually, scratch that. I'm doing this movie backwards, reverse of how they started this movie. The movie starts with Deadpool digging up Logan's remains. Because Logan...
What about the sacred timeline and stuff? And Happy Hogan.
Wait for Happy Hogan, okay? Because Happy Hogan's in this. But Deadpool digs up Wolverine's remains and beats the TSA agents to death with the very quintessential credit scene that they're known for, where the names flash on the screen, but it's like the different parts of the people getting murdered and hurt, so that's going on to like a famous song. It's Bye 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 NSYNC, or Backstreet Boys actually. Is NSYNC do Bye Bye Bye? Yeah, okay, so it was NSYNC. They did the entire song. It was very gratuitous.
Yeah.
Deadpool's mess could not be any more in your face. But then, we start the movie, and he's 6 years, hopped a different dimension, and now is living as a car salesman with an awful toupee. Sort of similar to Ash vs. Evil Dead, where it's just, yeah, Deadpool's a car salesman. And so, after he's a car salesman, he gets abducted by the TVA, which were the multiversal police from Loki that monitor timelines and, well, prune them. They clip timelines if they get out of hand, so that means that Deadpool's timeline, all of the people he cares about, his friends, they're all going to be wiped from existence in 72 hours if he doesn't get his shit together and stop it. Because the TVA guy, Mr. Paradox, is, he's a gleeful British twit, and he just gets his nose broken. Deadpool steals the, communicator that can, go between worlds, and he finds a Logan, because they explained that there's a thing now in the Marvel Universe called an anchor being, and, an anchor being is a character that did a sacrifice so mighty and was so heroic, and basically Marvel Jesus themselves. So Tony Stark was an anchor beam originally for that universe, and the sacrifice was so big that, it was felt through all the timelines. So, Logan's another person because of the events of Logan, where he sacrificed himself to save X-23. Yeah, so he can't be replaced, or can he be?
He goes to the sacred timeline.
So, fast forwarding, Deadpool digs up Logan,
Sacred timeline.
and, just uses his body to murder him. Again, and all the TVA agents just desecrate the remains to NSYNC, and then, and then he goes and finds all the other Wolverines, and then you get to see all the Wolverines that they are showing, and it's, you see Henry Cavill was Wolverine. For a second. You see Tomorrow Wars Wolverine, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, comic book accurate Wolverine, John Byrne's Wolverine when he's about to fight the Hulk. And, Deadpool gets murdered in all those realities until he finds one Wolverine that's a screw-up. That Wolverine...
The worst one, right?
The worst Wolverine. And that Wolverine is a drunk reprobate who let his entire team die, and he didn't save them, and he regrets that, and you can hear their voices still.
But Wolverine is OP even if he's the worst Wolverine, is what I would argue, as just someone who knows nothing of this film actually seeing it. I'm just kind of reading a description if you need help keeping along.
Exactly. So the power shifts between what Wolverine can be and what they can't be and whatnot, and they go back to the TVA again, and Paradox laughs in his face and is like, "That's the worst Wolverine! Ha ha ha, you suck. We're going to send you to the Void now." And the Void is a thing from Loki, Season 1, Episode 5, where they get, eaten by a garbage, trash, imagination monster or something. And so, they end up at the 20th Century Fox scrapyard, where a bunch of Easter eggs are strewn about the landscape. there's like Planet of the Apes references in one scene. Then like they go to a shipyard where there's like the Titanic, and then and they have the Prometheus ship there.
What? So that's where it ties in? That is insane.
And meanwhile, they're making Mad Max WB references the entire time, because this movie doesn't give a hoot about what they're doing. So, they end up finding all the Fox characters, because they're in Foxland now, and Chris Evans is there, and you think it's going to be Captain America, Chris Evans.
No, it's the humanoid.
It's the Human Torch, Fantastic Four, Chris Evans.
Much better cast.
It was set there. And he's a brat, and he gets his skin peeled off pretty quickly.
That's awesome.
By Charles Xavier's
Sister.
What is that? Like
Sister, right?
Sister twin that was killed in the womb or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the villain of this movie. It's Charles Xavier's unborn twin.
Killed in the womb.
Yep. Sent to the void.
I believe it. I don't know how I'm keeping up better with this one than I am the movie I saw.
This is crazy. I'm like spending more time. Like, I was eating between that Spider-Man review. Like, I was trying to show I didn't care, and I think it was felt through the airwaves. But anyways, I'm saying some parts a little bit out of order too, to make it a little bit in place, but that's just how I'm remembering it as well. So
You're doing it good, I think.
they meet Charles Xavier's daughter, and she, like, can literally go inside your mind, so they have these effects where, like, her hand will just go inside your head, and, like, her fingers will pop out of your eyes and go through your nostrils and out your mouth and stuff, and she's, like, reading your thoughts and just, like, molesting your brain, pretty much. She, like, has to be told to just ask, and, like, that's not okay to do. Deadpool also gets molested at the TVA because he gets a new suit to suit up, and there's a montage of just his ass getting smacked and his balls getting slapped.
So that's why you and Skylar were mad?
No, there's just a bunch of that. It's just a bunch.
But that's where it starts. After you and Skylar were like, this is raunchy, kid.
No, there's a bunch, but we can get into it later, so.
You get into it later? You guys get into that stuff? And
Good. What happens? What the F happened?
now you can't remember that.
Oh yeah, so they meet Nice Pool, and they meet Dog Pool, and Nice Pool is played by Ryan Reynolds, of course, but Ryan Reynolds without the mask, and he's like a soy liberal version of Ryan Reynolds, really hateable, and it's funny. And so, he has his Deadpool family that you see later, but they get into a car, him and Wolverine, and they go across the Foxland, and they work out their differences and have a fight that's very similar to making love. And they play, You're the One That I Want by Grease over it.
That's...
Yeah, that's talking about fucking just killing the shit out of each other, because, like, Deadpool, and then, yeah, they're just fighting and fucking it out on screen. And they end up meeting, eventually, Blade and Elektra, and there were original X-Men actors, like Toad was there, and Sabretooth. They kill Sabretooth and make a Furiosa Mad Max joke. And that's right before when Chris Evans gets murdered, so... But yeah, there's like a small resistance led by X-23, who's alive, and that's Blade and Elektra, and now Deadpool and Wolverine. Who else is it there? I think that was it. But yeah, they're hiding, and there's like some heart in the movie. I got kind of emotional when Wolverine just broke down and just was talking about how he couldn't save any of the X-Men, and that the humans just came and killed them, and then he, like, couldn't stop, and then he murdered all the humans to make them hate the mutants. That was a pretty good monologue, not gonna lie. 7 out of 10 still.
7
But-
out of 10 still? Wow. I was expecting a 8.
So the movie continues, and Paradox has a time ripper machine, because at the end of Loki they were talking about, we get rid of timelines, we end timelines, we can end your timeline. They try to end Loki's timeline. And so when he goes and he's in the wrong timeline, and all of his friends don't know who he is, and he's just like, Twilight Zone Loki now. So they trim timelines. Also, that show was weird because, like, he falls in love with this girl Sona, and, like, wants to bang her.
See? I don't know what I'm doing. So it's a timeline film.
Yes, it's a timeline film. Deadpool's trying to make sure his timeline is not erased. Even though this is the 3rd movie, and yes, most definitely this is the last one of these that they're doing. It's a commentary on all of that as well. But they bring 2 fight scenes out, because first Deadpool and Wolverine have to get out of the Foxlands. So they go and crash Giant Man's hideout, because they're hanging out in Giant Man's skull. So they blast through his hands and go through his head. And Blade has the rocket launcher. They smash out there, and X-23 and Elektra and Blade hold the fort while Deadpool and Wolverine go to see Charles Xavier's unborn twin. And they tried to get her to put on a helmet thing. I don't remember the helmet thing off the top of my head that they needed to wear to block her signal. But they're able to have a chance at jumping into a new universe. They jump into that universe, which is the MCU universe, and they go to work at trying to stop Paradox and his Time Ripper machine. Meanwhile, Charles Xavier's sister is just now trying to get to the Time Ripper, rip the MCU universe, and be the god of all universes. So, she was a pretty entertaining villain, but then she now has to start being boring, generic MCU villain, unfortunately. So, back in the real world, Deadpool has to fight all the Deadpools, which he keeps finding Dogpool around and falling in love with Dogpool, and that leads to him confronting Nicepool, and he wants to kill Nicepool because he wants Dogpool, because Dogpool is very cute, and that leads to them finding all of the other Deadpools. Paradox does the same way that Deadpool found all the Wolverines, and so then you have a cameo-laden fest of all the Deadpools, which include Ryan Reynolds' actual family as a Deadpool family, his kids and his wife. Blake Lively was Lady Pool. Matthew McConaughey was Catboy Pool. Nathan Fillion was Zombie Deadpool. The friggin' Wrexham guy.
Nathan Fillion was in it?
Yeah, Nathan Fillion was the Zombie Deadpool floating head. The Wrexham football player was Wrexham Deadpool. And so Deadpool fights all of them and Wolverine, and it's like a long, pretty entertaining fight scene, somewhat. Because the last fight scene, which was in the Foxlands, is just shaky cam and just kind of awful, and did sort of a disservice to seeing Elektra and Blade for the first and only time in this universe. It's just, it kind of sucked, honestly. It's just very lukewarm. But anyways, they fight all the Deadpools. The Deadpools don't die, of course, but they manage to make it all the way down to the Time Ripper machine. And Paradox tells them if they go down there, then they die. And so they both try to make the heroic sacrifice, Deadpool and Wolverine. And they're like, oh no, you bastards, you have so much to live for and stuff. And then they reenact Armageddon, and then they both manage to make it there, and then they hold on to pretty much the time-ripping. They hold on to the timelines pretty much, and turn blue, and Hugh Jackman's shirt flies off, and it gets really, just, you have to think about it, because the movie makes you think about it. And then, you know, they survive, because they're both immortal, and they end with them all at a party where he, like, maybe can be with Vanessa again. And Wolverine's his bud, and Blade and Elektra are there. The end. That was Deadpool Wolverine. And the ending credit was Chris Evans' Human Torch going off and roasting Charles Xavier's unborn twin. That was Deadpool Wolverine. You there? This is a podcast. What are you?
I'm right here. You're the one who's seen it. I'm listening to the explanation.
Okay, what are your questions about it?
I don't have any questions about it. Don't you have any questions about it? My question is, how does it tie in to whatever else you're talking about? That's all that matters. And then you cannot forget. But it leads into basically that you're going to do an album review and then an Alien review.
I know. So, we're going to take an intermission, and Deadpool was really good. It was just...
Intermission?
It's a 7 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10. What can I say? I mean, like, it's a little bit more better than Spider-Man No Way Home, but it's the same formula. It's the same idea of getting a lot of cameos together. But the thing with these two properties on why it is elevated to that quality is they're more faithful comic adaptations. The thing is, in the midst of the Spider-Man, before and after, in the box office, most comic book movies, they want to stray away from the characters, away from the costumes, away from what makes them them. And audiences are sick of that, so when they get Wolverine in the signature costume, they're going to go see that. They're going to go see Deadpool in that costume. With that humor, because that's what the character is. They're going to go see Spider-Man, because they haven't strayed so far and done crazy things. Because it's still recognized as, like, you know, a property you don't do that to yet.
Yeah. Deadpool and Wolverine. Both of them. Man. Just X-Men.
On the other hand, Deadpool was really long, like Spider-Man.
Really?
These Marvel movies are interminably long, and the comic book elements, funny enough, are the least... It's like the mechanic of what has to keep the story going. And it didn't used to be like that. I used to care about the comic plots a little bit in these comic book movies. What the actual hell is going on? So that's why it's a 6 or 7 out of 10 for me too. Because it's like, no matter what, this ain't a good story. Just a serviceable one to get these characters that you love from point A to point B. So far.
Yeah.
Alright. So Deadpool Wolverine
Plus.
made a lot of money. Of the same
As
with-
Spider-Man.
How much did Deadpool and Wolverine make?
A whole lot.
Okay. Spider-Man No Way Home grossed $814.9 million in the United States and Canada, and $1,108 billion in other territories, for a worldwide total of $1,923 billion. It is the highest grossing film of 2021 and the 7th highest grossing film of all time. Now, Deadpool and Wolverine has grossed $553.5 million, $597.9 million, for a worldwide total of $1,151 billion. So these are still making billions of dollars. The fact these two movies are making billions where the other Marvel movies were making like 100,000 million in between there, that speaks volumes too. Of just what the audience are willing to like really go out and support and see. Also, another thing I want to add is that they got the original writers from Deadpool 1, so they got all Wernick and Rhett Reese back, and they made a show called Wayne, which was on YouTube Red, and now Amazon Prime, and that show is really good, and just, yeah, no one gave the second season. But now, let's get on to our third very similar thing. Oh my lord, it's so similar it could put us to sleep. But that is Slim Shady Death with Slim Shady Coup de Grace.
The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace.
Now, Tolkien, have you listened to any of this album?
I listen to Houdini. I listen to Houdini. And
That's...
so
You had all that time to prepare. That thing has been out.
No, that's... Well, think about that. Have you played me any of the other songs?
I don't think I have, no.
And none of them are on the radio like that?
I think the Save Me Jelly Roll song is...
So maybe I've heard that one. So accessibility-wise, what do you give it yourself?
What, the Eminem album?
Yeah, how easy was it just to listen to for yourself, you know? Easy.
Well, the
you went on
Eminem
YouTube or something?
It's interesting, really. Music to be murdered by side A and side B nullify you with so many decent to good tracks that it doesn't stem to being impressive as an entire body of work that you want to come back or revisit. It turns into the same exercise, which is just not what you should be expecting when you have hip-hop's most crazy man on the mic at his heights of his craziest he's supposed to be. And Slim Shady, as much as Eminem is rapping on better beats, is in the pocket more, his cadence is great, has failed to deliver on the idea of his original character. That's what makes that a 7 out of 10. The fact there's only Slim Shady, I feel spiritually, for 4 effing seconds on a project that's all supposed to be about him. And the reason why you brought it up is as bad as a primetime holiday Halloween special is laughable. Is like Slim Shady, now on ABC. After 20 years, he's come back, and will Marshall be able to stop him? Tune in next time for the demented adventures of... No one really wanted to hear that, honestly. But,
No?
he makes it entertaining.
In Houdini. You should
Houdini's in the middle of the album. Houdini's the last good song.
Okay.
The last good song of the project.
So go over each song leading up to Houdini then for me.
Okay. It starts off with Renaissance. With balls in his rag and stuff. What's his name? He starts off with a very Eminem show flow, where it's like back to like collapse. Eminem, where he's back in his pocket and just slamming you with his punchlines. Everything's like locking in technically, of course, and then it goes into habits. And Habits is the song that has the South Park sample on it. Habits is him introducing that he's going to... Everybody is too sensitive, and, you know, you can't say all the words that you can't say nowadays. Eminem is very protective of these words, as he's a old established comedian who loves his job, you see, and doesn't want anyone telling him what to do. So he elevates the Slim Shady character to the National Lampoon, South Park, Adult Swim level of juvenile humor that should be celebrated. If you're going to buy that, you might as well buy into him. This leads into Trouble. Trouble with Shady really makes an appearance and kidnaps Marshall, ties him up, and they start having a conversation between themselves. Really, this is just a dream Marshall is having. And that beat, Trouble, later turns into Guilty Conscience 2. And it's a really fire beat, actually. It's like the most boom bap, scary, Hail Mary, Tupac-ish sort of macabre thing they got in the chamber in Arsenal. Which is good because some of the beats from Music to Be Murdered By, the Alfred Hitchcock inspired album, range from good to just effing terrible. Lil Engine is not scary. This leads on to Brand New Dance. Brand New Dance is a throwaway from the Encore sessions, which Eminem have resurrected 20 years later, as time has now healed all wounds, and he can make fun of Christopher Reeves. but a young sleuth will never forget. Especially this song, which is fire, actually. Eminem has done this tactic before when in Eminem Show Deluxe Edition, he found a song called Jimmy, Brian, and Mike, and because he can't really do that voice anymore, for reasons mainly stemming from he doesn't do that type of drugs to do that voice anymore, he uses his sober voice to bridge the missing parts of incompleted Slim Shady Eminem era tracks. Any thoughts, Walt?
Why does he? How does he? Is he two people?
He's the same ragamuffin.
So he's two people. He's Slim Shady, he's Eminem. And Houdini? How can he be three people?
Then it goes into evil, which is where he talks about killing dogs.
Okay, bad meets evil, right?
Yeah, he's just rotten to the core, he's fucking twisted cerebral.
I thought
And
he was bad and Royce to 5'9" was evil.
a lot of great, punchlines in that one. He talks about giving all of his collaborators venereal diseases. He says he's gonna slap Dre. He's gonna, punch Paul Rosenberg in the nuts. All of his closest homies. Then on the All You Got skit, the Slim Shady denounces and scolds Marshall for abandoning him and being very angry that he was kicked to the curb and pushed to the side. Then it goes into Lucifer, one of the dopest tracks off the album, where he's like, I'm in the trenches with the Columbine shooters. Like, it's funny, it's great, it's leading on like an amazing run of the songs all the way through. I mean, a lot of we're gonna make fun of transgender people and Gen Z and get what's gay and, but
I heard that in Houdini.
then we go into Antichrist, which, is either a good song or a bad song, but at this point, I've settled on, this album is just trolling to troll, and it's pretty good. I mean, so I like Antichrist, and then it goes to Fuel, which is the first real song, and after Antichrist, you need something serious, and Jid goes into a rousing story about a friend or a cousin of his who's in prison and the harrowing experience of trying to, keep your sanity in that area and everything. Then Marshall talks about his success and, oh yeah, he talks about, he has so many essays, sexual assault cases, and then did he spell the word rapper wrong, and then goes after Puff Daddy, and it's pretty good. It's kind of like a weird song, and then Eminem goes into his juvenile ha flow, and then it goes into Houdini. Then it goes into Breaking News skit where everybody hates the album and they're picketing outside. Then it goes into Guilty Conscience too, where Eminem's like, you see, we can't be Slim Shady because it's wrong to be Slim Shady. The audience is too stupid to realize we can't do things like this. It's just talking down to your audience. It's just saying the audience is too stupid to realize Slim Shady was a character. So I have to be the guy that says all of this is wrong. Me, Eminem, the public figure, rapper, has to say, even though I've killed women on multiple songs, oh, that was Slim Shady. That wasn't Marshall or Eminem. Because Eminem knows better. Which is total bullshit. Like, this song is... what the heck? It kills the momentum because it's using Trouble Beat, but it's like, you know, we're gonna kill Eminem, we're gonna kill Slim Shady over this. We're just gonna shoot him in the head, and we're gonna end all the beefs, and we're gonna end all the vitriol, and we're gonna end all the battle rap aggression. For what? Because nobody can understand what a character is anymore, even the guy who created it? Then it should be like effing Patura. It's crazy. Doesn't a Head Honcho, which is a song where Easy Mill is pretty good, slides on it. The beat is pretty hard, pretty good. Got a piano, trap element, and Eminem is talking about why he overcompensates and murders the mic because he was beaten at a young age and stuff. So.
And is it Houdini?
It's after Houdini, but hold on.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. Pretty good. Do you want anything? You're good? Okay. Still there?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I had to get out because my mom and John showed up. So I don't know. Maybe we can cut that part.
Yeah. Totally. I had some stuff happen in there too, so it's easy to cut stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna get high and refocus really quick.